Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the In the Hub podcast, brought to you by Playbox Technology UK. Today I'm joined by Wilfried Wuest, Senior Director of Business Development at Sport Media Net. Wilfried's career has seen him take on huge projects like the FIFA World Cup that ultimately cemented his knowledge and expertise in the sports broadcasting industry. Really hope you enjoyed this episode. So welcome to the In the Hub podcast. How are you doing today, Wilfried?
Thank you, I'm fine.
That's good to hear. And you're currently based out over in Germany, are you not?
Yeah, in Germany, yeah.
How's it looking over there with the COVID situation and everything? Is things getting back to normal?
No, it's unfortunately it's not back to normal. I hope we are going back to normal in a couple of weeks. But until today, it's the limitations we all have, let's say, around Europe, I would say. Yeah.
So, Wilfried, before we do get started into the kind of main questions, could you just tell us how you got started in the broadcasting industry?
Yeah, one never noticed what has been done, or one can only see what remains to be done. That was a wording by Marie Curie. And that's maybe the reason I spent all my professional life in the broadcast industry. I started my professional career in the broadcast industry at Robert Bosch Fernsehanlage in Germany in the 80s. And there I worked as a technical engineer, carrying out customer trainings and equipment service. Yeah, later then I worked as a project manager. I managed projects like Goodwill Games in Moscow in 1986. So you see, it's quite a long time I am in the business. And in the progress of my career, I became manager of mobile systems, the OB-WAN business in former days at Philips BTS. And already in the OB-WAN business, as you can imagine, we had a strong relation and strong connection to the sport media business. Yeah, so. And in the 19th onwards till 2007, I hold several general management positions at Grass Valley, BTS, Philips, Thomson. And in 2010, then I joined DTCon, a consultancy arm of Deutsche Telekom, as head of media and online services. And later then I changed to the mother company, and I was responsible senior manager for business development in the content and media partnering area of the Deutsche Telekom. And today I work for Sport Media Net as senior director business development, still business development. And Sport Media Net is a smaller company with a large expertise in all topics around digital platforms, media production, and sport right management. Yeah. And that's a lot of fun.
It does sound like a lot of fun. And I guess I just wanted to ask, how was it that you became involved in sports broadcasting? Was it a plan from the start? Is it something that you've always wanted to get into? Or did you just kind of, find yourself in Sport Media and that you just kind of gravitated towards it?
Yeah, well, I mean, from its start in the early days of the television, I think sports and TV entered into a wonderful alliance. And since then, we have seen an ever-growing sports content offering in TV year by year. And for several decades, live sport has been one of the most valuable assets in the industry. And furthermore, TV sports content is one of the few contents, I guess, broadcasters use to differ from competition. And that said, it's more than obvious working in the broadcast industry that you have everyday connection to the sports media business. And it is fascinating to see how major sports events, for example, the FIFA World Cup in 2006 in Germany, have been accumulated by more than 7 billion people.
That's crazy.
And I think that's amazing. I'm convinced there is no other content watched by so many people almost simultaneously. So I mean, that's fascinating for me, and I like the sports media business very much.
Yeah, I agree. I think sports is such a huge part of broadcasting, and it's so, like you said, it expands across the world. It's got so much influence across the world, and it must just be a really exciting kind of sub-industry to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the whole professional career, and when I hold several management positions, I traveled around the world for major sport events because sports, as said, was always related to broadcast. I mean, Formula One, Soccer World Championships, Goodwill Games, all this Mediterranean Games, Olympics, yeah. there's no escape in the broadcast business.
And it was basically destiny, wasn't it, for you to become more involved in sports broadcasting, in the sense that you are now. So, Wilfried, I was checking out one of your kind of recent articles the other day that you've obviously written. And in it, you explain kind of how the sports entertainment industry should kind of take notes from the music industry. And just for any listeners who haven't read that article or want to go and check it out later, could you just kind of tell us the main idea behind that point that you made, that they should take notes from the music industry? Why is that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in an ever more fragmented sport media market with an ever-growing sports content offering, players sooner or later will come under pressure. The digitalization, the increase of major sports media rights, streaming players with new underrepresented live sport offerings, change in the user behavior of the younger generation, and new disciplines like esports, gaming, etc. All this needs to be considered, and I guess that will have, let's say, an impact on the sport media business. And as it happened in other media segments, example music industry, it's very likely that the digitalization in the sport media world and the related changes, such as increased content diversity, provider fragmentation, lead to a balance of power shift from the provider towards the consumer. And since the budget and time of consumers are limited, this will have an impact on the industry. And I think one of the best examples is the music industry. Even if you can't compare apple with orange, it may be worth considering how the music industry and its players use the digitalization to renew their business. Spotify and other companies established a so-called freemium model. And I guess this freemium model could help also media companies to offer their business towards the customers. Today, the free model is used in many media business, but in particular, the digitalization process has attacked not really the sport media business. And that's for whatever reasons. This tool is to engage customers not very widely spread in the sport media streaming market today. But I believe there are several examples where some players can try to use this tool to engage customers. We see right holders today who use YouTube for distributing free content to attack potential customers outside their own business environment. Or how I believe the benefits of converting a free customer into a paid customer on external platform is rather difficult. And another approach is what we see free of charge trial period. DAZN seems to have made good experience with such strategies, since they offer a 30-day test phase since the start of the service. All this enabled customers to look behind the curtain and to get a look and feel about the service. And I think giving customers a real platform experience is, from my point of view, certainly the best way to attract their interest. And the music industry, the streaming platforms, they have shown that this is a successful model. And the idea behind was to offer such a strategy also to the sport media market.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. And when I was reading the article, it did make me think, these OTT platforms like DAZN are kind of heading in that direction, aren't they? Where they're, it's the 30-day free trial nowadays to consumers. That's got to be a given, hasn't it? Some consumers will look, if there's no free trial, that's it, they're gone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that I think that's. I don't know if this is monitored, but I guess this happens quite often. I mean, free trial without any risks and bindings. I think that's the best way to offer to your service. And I guess we all have made this experience using the music streaming industry, Spotify's, Amazon, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've become desensitized to it, haven't we? We've been spoiled by the likes of Spotify and even like Netflix doing their 30-day free trial and stuff like that.
Same, yeah.
They've given us too much power, Wilfried. So just branching off that, Wilfried, is there... It's quite a tough question to ask, but What do you think is kind of the future of sports broadcasting? If you had to pick one thing, how will mass audiences come to consume sport in 10 or 20 years' time?
As I said, it's nearly unthinkable that the sports streaming broadcast market will be disrupted by the digital as hard as the music industry. However, I'm convinced we will see changes in the consumer behavior as a shift from today very popular sport discipline towards the growing diversity of the sport offerings. I think it's possible that the esports and gaming will take part of the overall sports offering. Furthermore, the user behavior of the younger generation will lead to consume more short-form content. I'm convinced that it will happen instead of watching a live sport broadcast in full length. And in order to keep existing business model up and running, broadcasters for sure are going to pay even more attention to live sport events. And this will lead to an offering of more content in front of customers and push, of course, the content diversity. And finally, due to consumer needs to watch sport content on a diversity of screens and a kind of personalization which goes along with this described future scenario, we will see a further shift from classical TV distribution broadcast towards the OTT business. I think that will happen. Yeah, and, yeah. There's no.
I think you're pretty spot on about all of those, Wilfried. Obviously my expertise and my knowledge is no match for yours, but from what you've been saying there, it does really seem like we're headed down that route, especially when you were talking about short form content as well, and having access to that. I think our generation in particular is really quite excited by that and going on YouTube and watching highlights and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
I did. But like, there's no, can't hold a candle to actual live sport happening. That's the thing. So it's pretty bulletproof live sport, I think, isn't it? As a form of content. So, Wilfried, as you were saying earlier when we were talking about how you got your start, you've obviously worked in a lot of companies, within the broadcasting industry. I don't want you to pick a favourite here, but is there a particular kind of highlight project that you've worked on throughout your career?
Yeah. Well, my personal highlight and success story, I think, was a FIFA World Cup Championship 2006 in Germany.
That makes sense, yeah.
For many years, our company have worked hard to develop and implement HD TV technology in Germany, in Europe, in the world. Yeah, these days it was
so different back then, wasn't it?
No one remember, but in 2006 we had no really public HD TV distribution. And however, as usual, for years we have, had a significant market resistance of implementation of these technologies. And simply, broadcasters didn't see a commercial reason investing in new TV formats. Yeah, and since consumer didn't know the benefits, we had the typical chicken and egg problem. Yeah, I mean, and the Soccer World Championship managed by the FIFA, that was a nice. Event to introduce HD, and we did a feasibility study for the FIFA, and the FIFA then decided to produce this major sport event first time exclusively in HD, and that was a trigger for the whole HDTV success story. Yeah? And for me, it was the time. The most busiest time, I would say, and most stressful time in my professional career. We had been responsible to build and run the whole production part from scratch. I mean, there was no equipment there. We have built 7 HDOP vans with 24 cameras each, super slow motion broadcast center to support approximately 280 host broadcasters worldwide. And it was an amazing time, and I still cannot imagine what has happened in case anything went wrong. I mean, I remember I couldn't sleep one night for almost 4 weeks. Really,
yeah.
It was a lot of stress, but a lot of fun as well.
It's just mental to think, especially 15 years ago, HD was like you said, it had to prove something, didn't it? But you must be so proud from having worked on that kind of project and built that up. That really is brilliant. So Wilfried, obviously it's led you on to the point of working with Sport Media Net.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know already, anyone who's listening, what are the kind of core services that you guys at Sport Media Net provide?
Yeah, Sport Media Net is an agency specialized in digital sports content. We are consulting companies and sport organizations at conception, realization, and marketing of digital sports projects. We support complex platform projects as well as tender processes and product development. And one major part is we manage and support the acquisition and licensing of audiovisual media rights, sport rights. Yeah, we always care about the target group needs. So that means we have a focus to the end user, and then we consult our clients to develop and optimize the features to focus on the customer needs. Yeah.
So it might be another tough question, Wilfried, but where do you see Sport Media Net progressing to in future? You know, can you see that far ahead in terms of what kind of clients you guys want to be working with, and just what the general plan is for you guys moving forwards?
Yeah, there is a plan, and it's our intention to grow the business and the service in the upcoming years. That's the reason why I'm at Sport Media Net, and the new orders and the trust of our existing clients prove that we are on track. Regardless of ongoing activities to strengthen our core business, driven by market needs, we consider addressing new services like marketing and production support as well. But one thing is clear: our DNA is deeply anchored in the sport media segment, and this will not go to change. So we'll keep in the sport media business. I'm quite excited to see what you guys eventually grow into, but it's exciting at the moment what you guys are doing. It's brilliant. So Wilfried, this is a question that we ask at the end of every podcast, and in one word, what do you envision for the future of the broadcasting industry? Yeah, one word. Okay. Extended content diversity, extended customer orientation, and extended usability of services. I think that's a need that the classical broadcast industry has to focus on in order to survive. And as always, by saying, put the customers in the middle and listen to their needs. And this will become more important for all players in the broadcast business. In the past, consumers searched for content, and in future, content is searching for consumers. So that means the broadcast industry has to recognize this change, and then the change in the consumer behavior push classical broadcasters to take a more active role, from my point of view, and that must adapt their business also to the OTT world. I mean, that's a need, and then broadcast business will survive. No question. Yeah.
Wilfried, are there any exciting projects in the pipeline that you can talk to us about with Sport Media Net or yourself?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that, but since we work almost in all projects very, very close together with our clients, I said it's a consultancy business and a hands-on business. But we are working with on very sensible parts of their business. I'm really sorry to say, but I'm really not able to talk about that topic.
That's all right. Well, you think I'd be used to it by now, asking that question in the broadcasting industry, wouldn't you? But it's, I thought I'd give it a go. So how can people get in touch with you or Sport Media Net if they want to get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, there's an email address, info@sportmedianet.de. That's very simple. Or wilfried.wuest@sportmedianet.de. Or just my phone call on my mobile number, which is Germany 4917122282127. So yeah. What we'll do, Wilfried, is we'll link to your LinkedIn profile in the description of the podcast as well. If you use that. That's brilliant. So Wilfried, thank you very much for taking the time out this morning and obviously coming and speaking with me on the podcast today. It's much appreciated, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Wilfried. Bye-bye.